I met a man who was opening a new publishing company, and he said to me, could you do research on books that you think could be interesting for the Italian public on what you're passionate about? So in presenting the result of this research, I said, I think a lot of these books need a cultural adaptation, because the how-tos, the pragmatic Anglo-Saxon structure and way of communicating is not necessarily in resonance with the way Italians live and think and what they respond to. So he said, have you ever considered writing a book? And I said no, but he left me with that. I never saw this person again. And I started experimenting with writing a book, which I first structured in the form of a diary. Then I realized I was turning my family into a collection of odd human beings. It just was, I just didn't feel comfortable with that. I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be, as sexy as possible to someone who was then going to identify with a story and work on their own transition. So I came up with a cast of 9 unsustainable characters through 9 sketches, which are a description of the way we all live and how often we are, unsustainable without being aware of it. I wanted it to be pop, and because I think that we've got to get sustainability out of its niche. It has to be mainstream. And it came out in October 2008, and the author of the most successful long-running show in Italian television called Striscia la Notizia, it's a satirical news program, called me and asked me if I wanted to do a weekly segment. And so that started, and within the first 2 months became the peak of the, the Saturday night show. So it really took off in a really nice way. And then the second book came out, and it taps more on the collective energy. And then that led, again, by a series of fortunate combinations to a children's book. 50,000 copies that were distributed for free in schools. They're small drops in the ocean, but things are moving. It is discouraging to see that its sustainability is not mainstream yet, and I had this sense that it was a bottom-up process, and that it was interesting to focus on that ferment, that blessed unrest, as Paul Hawken calls it. But now I think it's visible to us all. That really is where the change is occurring. So the TV program is about solutions, solutions, solutions. We never talk about projects, things that are going to happen. We always show things that are already happening. So they go from solutions that we can all apply in our homes to solutions at the level of communities to new technologies. We're at the beginning of our 4th year, so we've covered a lot of ground already. The first segment that aired was me measuring how much water we waste when we don't close the tap while brushing our teeth. So it started, very, very basic and very low, but then we've been, the last that aired yesterday is about a small town near Torino where the mayor simply put a sensor that detects the change of light, and the lights turn on when it is truly necessary. And that half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening add up to huge numbers when it comes to the yearly bill. So, there's simple things like that. It's just really common sense, but it's applied. So the segment delivers solutions, and that's why I think people like it so much, because they don't have very many solutions brought to them through television, which is by far the media that Italians follow most. The most unsuspected people come up to me and say thank you. I've never had, thank God, anyone insult me or say, what are you talking about, or, I always get joyful feedback. So that really makes me happy. And then what really makes me happy is to discover all these communities of people who really devote their life towards a better, towards our better self.